the birds are singing, the sun is shining, and it is finally spring here on the farm, and I thought it would be fun to just take you along today and show you what that's like as a busy mom of 5 living here on the farm. We're starting out with some cream of wheat. I've shown this to you before. I just coarsely mill some flour. I used hard white wheat berries and then mixed that with some raw whole milk, as well as some vanilla, cinnamon, and raisins. So the kids love this. I do not even add any maple syrup, honey, but of course, if you want it sweeter, you could totally add those as well. So that's what we're starting our morning off with. We do have some school to do this morning, and then we have a lot of outdoor work. We have some new arrivals on the farm, and sadly also a loss on the farm recently, and we'll talk about that later. So we'll start off with some good breakfast.
This way? Boink, boink, boink.
We're doing something a little bit different with our unit study right now. We're actually going through the beekeeper unit. This is just a mini unit, so it's only 6 lessons long, but I did not bind it or laminate it this time, and instead I've actually been, as we go through the lesson, I just cut out all the pictures because they have so many good pictures, and then the kids love sticking those into their notebooks and kind of make their note-taking pages look all fancy and fun. And so yeah, I just thought I'd share that because there's so many ways that you can use it, and normally I like to have the nicely bound books. I think I will do that again next unit, but this has been a fun little just switch up, and the kids have been enjoying that. I also frequently get questions on these pencil pouches. So while I'm waiting for the kids here, I thought I would just show you these again as well. These pouches are just off of Amazon, and then we just embroidered the names on the front. So just as a special little touch, and these are actually so handy and just practical to have on hand as well. They can easily tuck their pouches into their baskets if we're doing school outside, or they can grab these and their nature journal, and it's just really easy that everybody has crayons, doesn't take up a lot of space, and so yeah, definitely has been very practical for us this school year. All right, let's see if the kids are ready for school. It's kind of flower. It's like a dry erase. We had friends over till late last evening, and so I got all my dishes cleaned up now, breakfast cleaned up, and I have lunch started heating. But while we wait on that, I want to take you down to the basement and give you a little seedling update, and I hope this can just also encourage you. If you don't have a fancy greenhouse, which I'm sure a lot of us would love to have, it totally works to grow seedlings in an unfinished, unattractive looking basement. Ours are beside our barn boots down there, and so I want to give you a little update on that, and then I also do need to repot some of them, but I'll show you what I'm talking about down there. This is all you need, an unfinished basement for starting seeds. You'll see over on this side we have all our barn stuff, jackets and boots, and then just swinging around, this is where it's at. So our setup here is Josh just built these, it's like a little frame, if you will, almost looks like a bed frame, and then where we can just lay these fluorescent lights over the top. He's actually on his way right now to pick up more lights, and I believe these are a little bit different, so I'll have to see what they're like. But we have all our little seedlings and then an oscillating fan here. You want an oscillating one because it mimics the wind more and just encourages strong stems in the plants because they have to build that resistance to withstand the fan. I know with the lighting it's really hard to see, so I'm not going to spend too much time on them right now, but these are some of our first eucalyptus plants over here, our biggest variety, I will say. So that's really fun. And then on these shelves, this is a tray that I just planted, maybe 2 days ago. I think they're just starting to come up. And then this one is the one that I need to transplant today. Pretty much 100% of the time we have leftovers for lunch, and it is just something that I can do to kind of stay on top of home cooked meals, from scratch cooking as a busy mom of 5, farmer's wife, all the things that are on my plate. And so I purposely will cook enough for 2 meals for dinners. But anyway, I thought it would be fun to show you this one because yesterday we had our homeschool dinner, and we've started, I think it was beginning of the year that we started having the moms all bring something. I used to cook these meals completely myself, except maybe someone would bring a salad or a dessert, but I would just kind of go all out, and I love that kind of hosting. But at some point we decided that the moms would split up the main meal. So like one time everyone brought a soup, and a different time everybody brought homemade pasta, and kind of decide what we're gonna bring that way. And then the boys and girls take turns with salad or like a side vegetable and dessert. And so that has been really fun. So this week's, or month technically, I guess, theme was nautical, so they could dress up as sailors. Some of them dressed up as pirates, and the moms did hot sandwiches, which I did burger sliders and made too many, so that's what we're having for lunch today. I had made a bacon jam. Unfortunately that is empty, but it was delicious on here. And then the boys did the vegetable yesterday and the girls did dessert. The kids are all getting so creative, and I love seeing what they come up with. And in the meantime, they're also learning invaluable skills in the kitchen. So that's been really fun, and obviously you don't need a homeschool co-op to encourage your kids in the kitchen. But yeah, that's just been a fun little aspect of it. We're gonna have these with leftover fries. So Hudson made delicious fries as his side, and Kyra had made a fun, well, in front here you see Abby's little Rice Krispie squares. Kyra made a funfetti cake. She did this with fresh milled flour, and then the blue is actually, Leslie had made a cheesecake mousse, and then we colored it with butterfly pea powder, and we had a lot of it, and so she used that to ice this. She made these cool forms for the top. So all of the kids had so much fun, and it was a good evening, and we're gonna enjoy the remnants of that here for lunch. All right, I'll put some of this on. This is just like a homemade fry sauce. It's basically homemade mayo and then a bunch of seasonings. Put a little bit of steak sauce. I like to sprinkle a little bit of Parmesan on the fries. Just gives them a nice little touch and flavor. And then I'm also gonna go in with some of this freeze-dried basil. Sprinkle just a little bit on. And that's ready to go. Let's give these a little taste test. I have some jalapeno olives that I think would be really good on here as well. That's delicious. Laundry's hanging. Why don't we head up and I want to show you the latest arrival here on the farm. There they are, all snuggled together. 3 little pigs. I guess it's nap time, so we better not mess with them, but one of them has the cutest little floppy ears. I'll have to show you sometime. I have to laugh sometimes at how I never wanted to marry a farmer. I never dreamt of living on a farm. I did not grow up with that. However, now here I am squealing over baby pigs, and my day is made by a basket full of colorful flowers, and fields greening up is just like a hallelujah. It's starting to rain. What? Anyway, how things change, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm so grateful now that we get to raise our kids here, but it is funny because it's never something I thought I ever would want to do. Hey ladies, you should go in before you get wet. Oh, they love being outside. Josh and Hudson are on tractors and busy at work. This is the time of year we have all been waiting for. Not sure how well you could understand me out there, but Josh is tilling up our dahlia patch, and it's always so exciting to get that going again. But this year, with an event that we have coming up, we're really trying to get our dahlias done a couple weeks early. So our plan is, and this could either completely kill all our tubers or it might work beautifully, we don't know, but we're taking the risk, and that is we are putting in these row tunnels. So it's kind of like a greenhouse, like hoop house situation, except it's just small enough to cover a row, and hopefully create like a greenhouse environment in there for them to start a little bit early and to thrive. And so that's the hope. But we've never done this before, but that's the plan for this year. So anyway, that's very exciting. That's finally getting tilled. We want to put in the hoop covers hopefully in the next day or two. I'll have to see a little bit what Josh's schedule is. Hopefully we can kind of just work together on that and get that done. And then Hudson and his little tractor there, he was tilling up for the corn patch. We like to do a sweet corn patch, which is corn for eating, and then also a big row of cosmos along there this year. So that is so exciting to see some actual like boots on the ground type work. But another exciting thing on the farm here, especially for the girls recently, has been new baby kittens. We have a new little litter of kittens. I think is there 4 kittens or 5? 4? Okay. So why don't we head out there? I think they're up in the hayloft. Yep, there they are. It is the next day now, and we have already just been having the absolute best time outside. It's supposed to be 80 degrees today, our first warm day of the season, and so we are so excited. But a little passion project of mine and the girls recently has been pansies. I got this book, which was super helpful and goes into so much detail, like explaining varieties and how pansies were actually intended to grow and growing them on long stems and all of that. And so this is a bit of a trial year, but Kyra had already been begging for a while. She wanted her garden box to be full of pansies. And so I went ahead and ordered a bunch of seeds. I know it's a little bit late to be starting these, but we're gonna give it a try. And I'll try to put pictures up here of the ones that we got, but these are the varieties, and all of these are from Johnny's Selected Seeds, which is where I like to get most of my seeds. So the first one that we have here is the Rococo Frilled Mix. I think Leslie also wants to do her garden box full of these, so we should have pansies galore. And even if we can't get them to the full length, which I'm still hoping we can, but again, I've never experienced that, that for them to be long enough to use as a cut flower, but they are incredible, and you've been seeing me already putting pansies on so many things. I love them for that because they are edible. They don't taste like much, but they do just make any dish feel really special. So anyways, the next one we have is Antique Shades. Love that one. Frizzle Sizzle Mini Tapestry Brush Strokes, Imperial Antique Shades, and Alsmear King Size Mix. I think that's a bit of a bigger size. So we're gonna go out and plant these now. And of course, we're gonna do it outside by the table because we have to enjoy this stunning weather. Wow, when it's so nice out, one hardly wants to come in to cook, but I do have a bunch of tomatoes on hand, so I want to make a tomato pie. I'm going to start off with milling some flour, and then I'll also leave the recipe for you in the description box below. It's the same one I've used many times previously. It is a sourdough one. If I make this with all-purpose flour, I like to just pop it in the fridge for a couple of days before I use it to give it a chance to ferment, but I don't have that time today, so I'm going to use fresh milled, and then it's just a sourdough discard that I'm using here. Putting in 2 sticks of butter. If you're not already, using a box cheese grater is game changer for cutting in butter like this. Okay, we're gonna add a cup of sourdough discard. I like to make my measuring cup wet whenever I'm getting discard out. It just helps it come out better and not stick so much. So that's what we're doing. And then I'll also add 2 teaspoons of vinegar. Stir that in well. Once that starts to come together, I just switch to my hands and finish mixing it in. All right, this is what we're looking like. Normally you would go and put this in the fridge now for a little while, but I don't mind if it's a bit more of a rustic crust for what I'm doing today. And I'm short on time. I was having too much time planting seeds outside, so I am just gonna use it immediately. All right, I just have I don't even know what this is supposed to be, a tart pan probably that I picked up, thrifted somewhere. I'm gonna put some parchment paper in there, so this is a little bit of a bigger size than what a normal pie pan would be. So I'm just gonna squish this in here. Come up the sides, and then I'll bake this for about 20 minutes or so. Okay, we have a couple things to do while that bakes. To start off, I'm gonna slice these tomatoes. These are just some different heirloom tomatoes that I have on hand. We're gonna set them on, you can do paper towel, or I just have my cloth napkins here, and we'll sprinkle them with salt, which encourages them to kind of release their juice, because we don't want them too juicy for this recipe. So we are gonna do that next. Does not call for any meat, but I like to add just a little bit more protein. So I'm adding some sausage. Just gonna crumble that in the pan. All right, the crust is done. I think my sausage is done. Yeah, that's looking good. I also made some mayo while we waited, and I'm gonna shred a little cheese. We're gonna mix the cheese and the mayo along with some Parmesan together, and we'll also use that to top it. So let's do that first, and then we'll get to putting it all together.
Your grace is love beyond all means. It breaks the chains and gives strength to the weak. When I am lost, you're there with me. Your grace alone can set me free. Your grace abounds.
Adding some freeze-dried basil, and then we'll put it in the oven for about 15-20 minutes. All right, well, we're gonna go enjoy this outside and then hopefully knock out a lot of things on the yard this afternoon. I'm so excited, but I hope you enjoyed following along today. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, friends.
When I am weak, you're strong for me. Your grace alone can set me free. Your grace alone.
Golden.